南无须梭哈。我南无满洲须耶，南无梭须耶，南无须耶梭哈。耶觉那所耶说那拉将就满足那耶给苏奇，大给全年给别所那给，多拉边界上给诸马说。觉当所给求那拉将就满足那耶给苏奇，大给全年给别所那给，多拉边界上给诸马说。觉当所给求那拉将就满足那耶给苏奇，大给全年给别所那给，多拉边界上给诸马说。日月诸行灭道障，围绕灵犀一切见法地，僧伽行多灭地佛法一日周遍那大信那觉法说，不如然那门大拉冈尼亚大雅比。Please adjust your sitting posture according to the 7 meditative postures of Vairocana. And think, all sentient beings have been my mothers. All sentient beings have been my mothers, not just once, but for numberless times. All sentient beings are as kind as my mother in this life. Even though all kind mother sentient beings want happiness and do not want even a small suffering due to engaging wrongly in objects of adoptions and abandonment, they do not experience happiness but only suffering. In our minds, sincerely generate loving kindness towards all kind mother sentient beings by thinking, how nice it would be if all kind mother sentient beings were to have happiness, excellent happiness, and the causes of excellent happiness that are virtues. May they have excellent happiness and its causes. I will cause them to have excellent happiness and its causes. Lama Deity, please bless me to be able to do so. Next, we generate compassion towards all suffering mother sentient beings by thinking, how nice it would be if the bodies of all suffering mother sentient beings were free from the class discordant with a completing virtue, such as pain, sickness, and harms caused by 4 elements. May their bodies be free from the discordant class. Or free their bodies from the discordant class. Lama Deity, please bless me to be able to do so.
我那估计那真的是疫情照的多，那都传染。真的，就传到你身边，身边慢慢的吸引了一些，这些的东西。
How nice it would be if the minds of all suffering mother sentient beings were free from the clouds discordant with accomplishing virtue, such as fear, mental suffering, and all coarse and subtle negative discursive thoughts. May their minds be free from the discordant clouds. I will free their minds from the discordant clouds. Lama deity, please bless me to be able to do so.
我记得是怎么经历的，传了，他那个真的，到这个地方去，那么来经历了，不是那个真，这个就是。
How nice it would be if the speech of all suffering mother sentient beings were free from the clouds discordant with accomplishing virtue. All coarse and subtle negative speech, such as lying. May their speech be free from the discordant clouds. I will free their speech from the discordant clouds. Lama deity, please bless me to be able to do so.
是觉得他就过上去比小很多了，每天的求他的这继续找到个我就在心里头，那么呢，心情的不是我都是我明白心里不是。
How nice it would be if the three doors of all suffering mother sentient beings were free from the clouds discordant with accomplishing virtue. May their three doors be free from the discordant class. I will free their three doors from the discordant class. Lama deity, please bless me to be able to do so.
我呢是觉得空气另外的东西就没给我的真的这么让自己的那个时候就在心里头，那么呢，你估计的就是一下去就是。
How nice it would be if all mother sentient beings were free from all suffering and the causes of suffering that are non-virtues. May they be free from suffering and its causes. I'll free all sentient beings from sufferings and its causes. Lama deity, please bless me to be able to do so.
那就是别人呢，是觉得他情况的，也是不懂我的病，不是那部分都没让他过。 내가 보지 대신에 가서 양다가 저기 서비스 공부하는 이건 나도 이거 수다요. 양다가 저기 서비스 여기 있으지. 통일된 서비스 공부하는 게 굉장히 더더샤. 어디서 그렇게 잠시 세고
Next, we generate bodhicitta. First, we ask ourselves, who should take on the responsibility to free all other sentient beings from the sufferings of samsara and lower realms? I should take on the responsibility to free all other sentient beings from the sufferings of samsara and lower realms. Even though I should take on the responsibility, I do not have the abilities to do so now. Who has such ability? Only those who have achieved the perfectly complete enlightenment have the abilities to do so. Therefore, for the sake of all mother sentient beings, by all means, I will achieve the precious state of enlightenment.
이제 통일된 서비스 공부하는 샤오는 세컨적으로 되는 그러니까 나이 지금 무슨 그 넘버지도 죠. 어떤 동물들은 세로지도 좀 된다고 지금 그래서 우리가 나이 지금 뒤에 도제감이 생각을 한번 줘서 어디서 내가 터지는 게 있었지.
Next, we generate all-encompassing mind, all-encompassing yoga mind. The aspiring conventional bodhicitta that thinks, for the sake of all mother sentient beings, I will achieve the state of enlightenment. This transforms into the aspects of a complete mundis at one's heart. And the ultimate bodhicitta, which is one's mind becoming one taste with emptiness. All phenomena lack inherent existence. That transform into the aspect of a white five-pronged vajra on top of the mundis.
법으로는 이게 지금 월지나 차사의 때문에 지금 차사의 때문에 지금 다 캐나다 때문에 가지고 너무 지워 나经济기는 저 지워 전반에 대다 내셔도 추스 내셔도 추스 내 마지보다 추기는 게 더블 장기 지도 거고 서로도 뭐 추스 도셨어.
Next, we meditate on the meaning of emptiness for a short while. The I, or the self, and the aggregates do not exist as inherently one. If they were inherently one, they would become partless one, and they are following faults. It will be pointless to assert a self. Self would become many. Self would subject to reductions and disintegration. It would be unreasonable to remember past lives. Karma one has done would go wasted. One would meet with karma one has not done.
얘기를 더 보내서 이 타대들은 우리의 대주를 두고도 더 보내서 이 기대 타대 거기에 나도 이제 또 인사도 뭐 그래서 뭐 샤치스
The self, or the I, and the aggregates do not exist as inherently different. If they were inherently different, they would become unrelatedly other. Thus, the I and the aggregates do not exist as inherently one or inherently different. I is empty of inherent existence.
그래서 다시 무엇인지 미해서 그 서버에 주주 표시되는 양의 생각의 기초로 쏟아 어떤 거 그다 거기서 신경 무엇을 만나시 이제는 예상해서 그 시가 그 세계적인 노예를 저어서 진주의 미치도 인사의 통세야 진료의 중심이 많이 그래서 그것이 제와이나 이것을 그자대 지금까지 위해서
As we always say, it is very important to conjoin the roots of virtue of our three doors with the practice of six perfections. Thus, to conjoin these roots of virtue with the practice of six perfections is as follows. The first one is generosity. The nature of generosity is a mind of giving. These 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma is for the sake of achieving the happiness and to free all sentient beings from suffering. The roots of virtue of listening, contemplating, and meditating on the Dharma is conjoined with the practice of generosity by causing these minds of giving to manifest. Through the manifestations of these minds of giving.
대지스 시가 대지스 주지스 그것인데 주지지 무엇을 만나시 한다 예상고서 제비 것은 네가 그 문제는 봐 너도 마주 앞에 예 생존 공부지도 휴자도 그래도 단에 얘네 간다 예상고서 제가 당시에 기자와데 기자데 한다 지금 거는 무슨
Next is morality. The nature of morality is a minds of abandonment. During these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on the Dharma, I will properly abandon my physical and verbal misdeeds without letting them manifest. If I'm able to do so, then these roots of virtue of listening, contemplating, and meditating on the Dharma will be conjoined with the practice of morality.
세대세대의 그런 무슨 것이 무엇은 것이 뭐보다 예상 공부 제비 가서 리더십 예시는 동네다 까메 가지나네 보도는 시도까지 지금이 있어 된도 이거 휴자고 정말 다 예상 공부 제발이나 이것을 계좌대 한다 시비까지 있는
Next is patience. The nature of patience is an undisturbed mind. During these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on the Dharma, I will patiently accept any physical or mental hardships and difficulties.
那就是真理说的。有讲到，给我了动力生的真理情况是了男性，那也上公司接到了搞我的真理去上班呢，那个是给他的，人家上级给这的，这个个人的是个东西。
Next is joyous effort. The nature of joyous effort is a mind enthusiastic for virtue. I will joyfully and enthusiastically engage in the roots of virtue of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma. In this way, these roots of virtue will be conjoined with the practice of joyous effort.
就是是利用到了自己的那个的身体情况什么男性，那那上公司其实个是的弄到的那样的帮忙着，那上公司其实也小的那个，身体自己的那个结果，那个那个去照顾的那个锻炼的那上公司结果呢，第一个是现在的身体就不行了，那是有本事。
Next is concentration. The nature of concentration is a single-pointed mind with respect to any virtuous object. I will single-pointedly focus my mind on this virtuous activity without being influenced by distractions and discursive thoughts. In this way, these roots of virtue will be conjoined with the practice of concentration.
我觉得能力就是搞的，写的情况什么东西，他那上公司基本个是在看的是呢，现金拿了个，要不就现在个就这个那啥等这个路，要不就那个当的那上公司写完呢，第一个是别在的，讲的写的就不一样的是个是。
Last one is wisdom. The nature of wisdom is a knower that thoroughly distinguishes phenomena. During these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma, I will properly and unmistakably understand the words and meanings of the Dharma that I listen to, contemplate, and meditate on. If I'm able to cause this awareness to strongly manifest, then these roots of virtue will be conjoined with the practice of wisdom.
尤其是跟我讲的学生的，他们的身体是恐怕第一的方面确实能力程度都跟那世界的跟那个啥都是跟那个结合死。
Set a good motivation. For the sake of all mother sentient beings, I will achieve the state of enlightenment. For this, I will listen to the teaching and practice accordingly in order to benefit sentient beings.
我们来听有，但是讲说的嘛，现在不唱的问题呢，人大光的做，人大光他妈第几多的，还人大光他讲那个说，那么如果起了，可是女的在后面挣第几多的话，女的在后面挣些的，那反正女的嘛什么样，我说也觉得女的可能要那家，说因为这嘛去学过的，看到的话，你给我，你给去嘛去吧，不去吧，去吧不，你给去嘛去吧去吧。这个不，那可能女的对吧？那帮的女的和确实这样，那么也是不多。
Previously, we talked about the 4 correct abandonings, the powers that arise from exertions. And under these, there is outline. It's called this decisive analysis. And under decisive analysis, there are 8 divisions. Then we have already covered the first 2 objects of observation and modes of cultivation. So it's just as a just as a reminder that previously when we talk about the objects of observations, then they are four objects of observations. The four objects of observations are the generated and not generated virtue of the completely pure class, and the non-virtue, the generated and the not generated non-virtue of the thoroughly afflicted class. So these four are the objects of observation.
오늘 원진이 되는데 들어와. 나도 이거 원진이 맞지 봐. 집이 쳐도 보지. 이 집안이야. 이 집에서 보이치도 보고. 보이치도 보고. 그 게이치 맞지 봐. 집이 쳐도 보고. 이 게이치 집안이야. 배를 와 있지. 그거나 보고. 무슨 데와.
And regarding the modes of cultivation, there are four ways. So the four ways are for the sake of not generating so the modes of cultivations are not generating the non-virtuous quality that are not yet generated, and abandon those that are already generated, and generating the virtuous qualities that are not yet generated, and increasing those that are already generated. So this is for the sake of this, then this is the mode of cultivation. One cultivates aspirations and so forth.
어디로 가나 마가지 공부하다 마시우디 어디랑 가서 도시에 가나 민바다 매바다 저기 세라도 지마 세라도 조바세 같이 노를 소재로 노를 소재 어디서 막 근데 비디디 마시 민바체스와데 간다 이게 민바체로 이거 뭐지 왜 안다 보 이거 보 어디로 와 민바체지
다해 봉어 건다.
양다 보 나 보는 거로 와 맞아 yandā bōngā shīgō tirā, kāndā bōngyā zō tirā, yuwa, mā jīpa, yandā nī jīmbā, jīpa pī, yandā chī jīmbā, gīwa, jīpa pōi, yandā nī jīmbā, mā gī chī, mā chī, shīgā, yandā nī jīmbā, wā, wā dādi, bā sā, chī, bē bā sā, bē tō sā, yandā chī jīmbā, wā, yandā jīwa, yuwa dā yandā, chī jī tsō mā sā, mī shī kā mī rō, wā,
Namboy di tumba da nipa di pero. And this is because a sutra says, generate aspiration, make effort, undertake joyous effort, strongly hold the mind, and strongly place the mind. So generate aspiration means to generate the aspiration striving for these four correct abandonings. So what are these four correct abandonings? They are generating the non-virtuous quality, generating the virtuous quality that are not yet generated, increase those that are already generated, not generating non-virtuous quality that are not yet generated, and abandon those that are already generated. So in order to develop these four correct abandonings or attain these four correct abandonings, one generate aspiration, striving for these four correct abandonings. And the second one is make effort, and the third one is undertake joyous effort. So undertake joyous effort relates to the actual session.
세라든지 있어도 시원왕도 베세 그러와 미범사와 시원왕이 세 미범사와 요거도나 세데베 이제 다른 진주를 세라든지 맞아 시원왕이 그러니까 세무사와 좀 봐이나 아무도 세 라든지 맞다 아무도 진지해 되래 그래서 시원왕이 세 태가는 시원왕이 시원왕이 세 태가는 시원왕이 그 세라도 당 진지 맞죠 그래서 이래와 제라든지 있어
And in the actual session, then one strongly hold the mind. So strongly hold the mind means that when one's mind become too loose. So if one's mind become too loose, laxity arises. When laxity arises, the objects of observation will become unclear. So in order to eliminate this laxity, so one needs to strongly hold the mind. To strongly hold the mind means that one needs to tighten the mind.
那生老的牛是不多了，生老的牛是我的，隔壁我的生哪一的牛的那是，隔壁我的生哪一的牛生哪多少多，还是生哪，生出牛吧？
隔壁忘记
我隔壁我的生哪一的看牛的呢，哪一的牛的呢？你把嘛你把哪一我的牛的呢？哪一牛的呢？他刚才生哪多牛，我说生拓展的牛是吧？他生拓生出牛，他这样生样拓展大切长呢，我就给把我的牛是吧？那生哪的出牛也是生哪的。那更多是对的，是吧？我的结果也是看到我说，你比我的当一的肉的，刚才讲并切的，按切的，都比我的肉是吧？那现在都吃掉也是看到。
And strongly place the mind. So strongly place the mind means that when one's mind is uplifted too much, or when the mind is too tight or tightened too much, then excitement will arise. So when excitement arises, one's mind will become distracted. So one's mind becomes distracted means that the mind does not stay on the objects of observation, and the mind is distracted. So when mind is distracted because of excitement, then one needs to strongly place the mind. Means that one needs to strongly place the mind inward.
我就是说，这刚才我说，刚才杨大伯的都是些，杨大伯的可是我说念不多些了嘛，叫你写差嘛是吧？差嘛是杨大伯写过的，念不多些了嘛叫你，我说念不多些了，杨大伯写看到的，也是结果他就杨大伯写娘的都弄的什么吧？也是结果娘的看的呢，他杨大伯写那个门的解药的什么，娘的看的呢，天下的杨大伯人那嘛了呢，杨大念不多些的，杨大那个几百的事。你给弄到这么多，念不多些了，让他帮些，电脑不当的几百块钱是吧？是吧？那对了嘛讲呢，可是我就学，他怎么样叫，什么，那个嘛让他帮的，念不多些了嘛，来看学是吧？
So previously, when I talk about the four correct abandonings, I related it to the four opponent powers. So, and I couldn't finish it. So today I will talk about it again. So basically, all bodhisattva deeds, all of the bodhisattva deeds are included in these four correct abandonings. There is no bodhisattva deeds that is not included within these four correct abandonings. And these four correct abandoning and four opponent powers, in terms of the essential meaning, in terms of the vital point, they are exactly the same. It's just that they have different name, however, they have the same meaning. So it's like a synonym. These two correct abandonings and four opponent powers are synonymous.
他的结尾的要说，哪里他他嘛的，第是给全部哪里大把的些，都念不多些的古是吧？也工的，给全部我都让他帮我的，但让他帮的工的，我都念不多些工的，让他帮些工的，让他帮些尽量的去工的，他念不多些让他是的。你说啥？什么有点了，少数几个，也不去筛选是吧？这样子，念不多些大把工是吧？你念不多些工样的，我的了不是吧？你嘛是哪几边？一旦两类集体嘛，我的工作，你嘛集体调到学是吧？
And we always meditate on these four opponent powers in a certain order. So, and these four meditations on the four opponent powers and the cultivations of four correct abandonings are mutually inclusive. Means that when you cultivate or meditate on these four opponent powers, then it has the four correct abandonings in it, or it included the four correct abandonings in it. And when you cultivate the four correct abandonings, you also included the four opponent powers within it. So so when we talk about these four opponent powers, then we cultivate it in a gradual order.
当然是宁波都是个打工的，当不的说那么心情多的工吧，得用的，但现在也管理了，第一就是样，七八人的兄弟说了是吧？都是了嘛，现在管理的了，七八就是有的，那些样，我的样嘛，第是有的是吧？ 有的呢，刚好是那么星期多的，他他去熊用都是他去用那个糖不的，你用那糖是吧？用那糖不的，现在就要么滴是吧？是有的。那的说呢，那糖不按说，年波都是公的，那么星期多的话，那么星期多的过来了，那如果就是休假糖不那么星期多的过来了，或者休假，那么星期多的，他刚才按说，就把找不起来的，是吧？就把找不是说的，啊，我是的。디바 됐어라 안 제바 트라포 지우디 그런 제바 트라포 지우디 내가 저 가리 요르스나 예 얘래 기요 시레스나도 페스나도 간다디 디비기 편조체 맞아 예 제바 마티바이나 디바 야 페르다 디바 야 페르 디바 샤라 맞아 디바 사토제 바 샤라 사와 이나 샤도 마치나 샤라 라나 예 저거 야 페르 좋아 뭐 딘디 소자 아무 넘버 신지 또对过来那 number 星期多的我说给你发钱的哦 number 星期多的反正家的有啊给我接不过是吧接不过是吧没给我接不过都挺的也的没给我接不过当number 星期多的给你等待基本上吧
So the four opponent powers, the first one is the power of regret. And power of regret is usually listed as the first out of these four opponent powers. Um, Whichever great text that you refer to, most probably they will list this power of regret as the first one. And however, the other the rest of the power opponent powers, then they can be listed differently according to the text or great text that you refer to. So, however, the first one is usually lists the power of regret. So, the power of regret, there is a great purpose of cultivating this power of regret as the first opponent power is because basically when we say power of regret is to generate a strong regret. So generate a strong regret. And you regret the negativities that one has accumulated in the past. So and the purpose, sorry, and the functions of it or the benefits of cultivating this power of regret is to stop the negativities from increasing. In general, if one when we accumulate negativities or misdeed, if we leave it as it is without purifying it, then it will naturally increases or multiplies. It naturally increases. So the purpose or the benefits or the functions of cultivating the power of antidote, power of remedy as an opponent power is to stop those negativities, the past negativities from increasing, those accumulated negativities from increasing. So this power, the power of regret, and the correct of abandoning, which is abandoning those non-virtuous quality that has already generated, they are already generated. So yeah, these two are mutually inclusive. So the power of regret and abandoning those non-virtuous quality that are already generated are mutually inclusive.
다들 된다는 얘기를 따다 놓는다. 먹이와 제밥 봉화 쓰는 것도 먹이와 제밥 봉화 좀 먹이와 제밥 봉화 써 먹이와 돼. 아무 저때 리지 보내 배 먹이 소지 소지 받 사치 뭐 리지 보내와 배 소지 받아서 사치 뭐 들이잖아. 안 주마스 저거 휴치 못 제와. 주마스 선택 공부. 아 와고 보내 배 사치 뭐배 지 미치는 지나서 뭐 들이 예 이바 사치 뭐 사우디 여기 사치 뭐 사우디 대배 주마스 선택 차첨부 사 디바데바 보이지 이제 봐 휴제우와 언제 받지는 거야 예 이거는 배 나신 배 그러와 내셔라 봐서 되게 차첨부 뭐 개월와 왔다 되게 지우디 배 뭐가 제바고 와서 돼 우리 누가 유수게 되니 누가 차첨부를 내가 버사사디 그게와 제사로 와다 여기 레드 사사로 와 사사디 마코는 뒤도 상 차첨부대 제바 공화세 제바 공화 되와 근데 제바 공화는 너무 생기 또 근데 모두 선 제바 잡아 지야 와 제바 잡아 지야 너무 되니 되니 내가 다다 제바 와 제바 잡아 지야 와 제바 잡아 지부터 공화 쓰는 거라 하다 아주 디바 차첨부 가는 게 통한 제바 잡아 지는 이 보고 있어다 나 들려오라 보시 와 왜 그래
So the power of regret and abandoning those non-virtuous qualities that are already generated are mutually inclusive. So and they are mutually inclusive in this way. So basically, also physically we create we create negativities, and especially those heavy negativities of killing others' lives, killing others, and etc. And verbally, we create negativities, and especially those heavy verbal negativities, such as the verbal heavy negativities, such as lying about one's realization, and mentally we create negativities, and especially those heavy negativities of having ill will toward others and etc. So these non-virtues non-virtues are already generated, are already accumulated. So then in our mind, we generate a strong regret, thinking that if these accumulated negativities are not abandoned and is not okay, so I must abandon these accumulated negativities. So you generate a strong regret in this way. So this is how the power of regret and the power of regret and abandoning the non-virtuous quality that are not yet, that are already generated are mutually inclusive.
nomba sinjibe to tambo de ngazo pe dipa sadan jeba tab chia derwa jeba tabu chia derwa dan jeba tabu ngazo jida nungsho ba so ina ngazo jeba chia de zangsho lo mai ba ngisho lo duis wa sho ba so ina dan ngazo pe jeba chia de zangsho da ngisho ni yu wa ma ti chu chu de xie ba ina dan ngazo dipa cha jeba sadan jeba tabu chia de zangsho lo wa zangsho lo wa 다 교환납 첨부지 싸워이나 이런 제거지나 내쇼 디쇼 그저 와 교환납 첨부 싸워이나 피마서데 제거지나 내쇼 도와 어디 미치버 나디도 시험도와 요쇼버서 지나 그래서 제거지야 돼 님쇼 지자래 상쇼 수고만 시도 이 정도 갖고 지고다 말이
Yeah, so generating regret or feel regret about something, then however this is from as if for Westerners, then they might apprehend it in a different way. So generating regret for some of the Westerners, they might regard it as something that is negative. They do not consider it as positive. So however, that is for some Westerners. So however, for us, as from the perspective of Dharma, we regard generating regret as can be positive and it can be negative. So positive in terms of if we accumulate negativities, misdeeds, and etc., then we generate regret. Then that regret generated is a positive one. And how does a regret become negative is when we create a virtuous quality. We create a virtues, extensive virtues, and then we regret about it. Then that regret generated will be a negative one.
어디 좋아 방어도 들다 아까다 님도 도시네 나 머리 뭐다 빌마 따따 가서 연락 보시면 다른 돈이 돼 야, 다른 거 좋아 님도 도시네 가서 고마구나 이거 사진 봐서 어디 줘봐 잡을지 안 줘봐 잡을지 우리 신실 때 다시는 신슈도 보다 아니 다리 줘봐 디버 사진 못 된다 이사사사 사는 좀 무사 메시지를 우리 다 대제랑이 신장이 디바등이 메시지에서 당자 답중원에 세바들 리브로 와 그건 줘봐 잡을지 저번 더보기에서 나 신체니 라미 니가 마이로 집에 종이 주수사에 니빠도 매체 사데 라마이도 군줄 니가 간다 당자샤 내 당자샤 네발라 거기 들어와 니부 도지는 니발라도 비도 좋아 니발라도 비도 좋아 오디 니니 바리는 맞은 니부 도시 두스 바리네 바리 따다 후수로 냐니 제 생각하다 바리데 따달라기 상당히 되는 상당히고 쉬지데 와 상당히고 한번 접었다고 지 접었다고 지에서 땅에 수능 한번 내서 지금도 논지지야 이거로 와아 논지지 접었다고 지 어디 딱 접었다고 되겠어 따다고 땅에 신청이 디바트니 마사 아산이 디세 내고로다 그래서 레오리 그 당자 지야데 rāngi nipa kāyō sī tāngcā kīna bā yār sī mō. Tā ngā tō nipa kā tāngcā chīyā lē, ngā tō yā mī sī kī, yā tāngcā chīyā bā nāshī, mā tō nā nipa sāgā sī shī tāngcā lē, dī ngā tō shūng, kē bā chī mō kē yō mā rā sī. Tā tāngcā shā tā nā, tāngcā shā tā ngā tō nipa sāgā mī sī tāngcā shā wā rā, nipa yō mā tē, yā wā lā chī mō mā tō, yā gāyā kē yō mā rā sī.
Tamja shani ni de drum tu na maduna
iba ke mas kar so keba iba so no to chidung dong anja shan ni se iba ta ga che res ina ka ma so samsu la pe ma so rang ni pa ga ta ga shan ta ga shi cha bo rang pe ni pa ma yo ni yong ge ju su sa yi iba me she no da ni shi mu ma cha ni ba da ni di na ya me shi sa ta ma ko jo ni ga ga sha ko ba de ni da ni ba right? Yeah,
yeah. So this is the order of the four opponent powers. This is how you cultivate it in this order. And in terms of practice, then it will be easier to think in this way. So the first one is the power of remedy. So basically, you regret those negativities that you have accumulated in the past. So you have this you have this strong mind thinking that I have done something wrong. I have accumulated such negativity. So it's not okay for me to do this. So it's not okay to leave it like this. Then the second one is the power of a refrain. So the power of refrain. So meaning that first you think about those negativities that you have accumulated in the past and it's not okay. So then, and from now on, because you're thinking about the negativities, then from now on, I'm at my best ability. I'm not going to create these negativities with the complete three phases. The three phases are preparation, actual sessions, and completion. And you promised to lamas or in the presence of lama three jewels that I'm not going to create these negativities with the complete three preparation, actual session, and completion at the best of my ability. So this is the power of refrain. So first you think about the negativities one has already accumulated. Then follow the next thought is I'm not going to create same negativities again. And that is the power of refrain. So some people say that if you made promise, to lamas, to one's lama or the three jewels, and if you do not keep your promise, then one will create negativities. And however, regarding these, many scholars and adepts they also said in the text that if one cannot keep those promise, then one will not accumulate negativities, and it will only purify negativities, and it will not accumulate negativities when once make the promise to the three jewels and to one's lama saying that I'm not going to create these negativities again. So, however, for us, it will be easier and it's better to phrase this promise in this way that at the best of my ability, I'm not going to create these negativities with the complete three preparation, actual session, and completion.
So, rāngi nīpa kāyō yōngi jūsān tsāya nīki nīpa chīki mī sā tāñcā tā shāwa tī yīndi tāñcā tā tā ngāwa tā yūgu rē sī na tē nīngā shūgu yō rē chāng sī tā mā sū mū dūrāng tā mū yō rō wā dūrāng tā sū sū rūng nāng lō kāmbā nāng lō jīng zīng dū na tē yōngi jūsān tsāya ki nīngā shūgu yō rā nīpa sā tā ngā nī nīngā shūgu yōngi jūsān tsāya sā wā tāmbū kūnū nī dūrāng sēki 사 우주제 가는 체 진료리 생이사 꾸는 뭐 여바 아니 세 도도의 세상 안리수사 네 세상 가와체 뭐 용의 준 상황에 도서다 용의 준 상황에 와 그래서 이제 넘버 신지가 또 나가서 용의 준 자 디바체나 본 디바체는 얘는 용의 준 상황에 와 디바 사사의 디마 소상 같은 저번 주신께서 와 容易就是成不多啊，你把上才能，他跟不上了。我的容易就是差的，我当打过来，提出了这，他第什么问题？你就那所以容易就是差的那个什么样，你是个小结果子。都当就是把它都当是容易就是差的，你把别卡卡的，你把去别了啊。我说就当是被我呢，都当是小吧，呢，就把接的，你把上到去，都当你三个地方。我呢，这个都让的是功能哈，他把那个物质间的靠给的，或是呢，我当然是这里工作你就会苦啥的，你这样谁参与啥，然后可能永远就是上啥的，对，有点这个嘛。
Ya, ini di cita ini di tamja sawa ina di madua ina di kiba mambo ina di tiba sagi marwa ina.
这个我切吧有的时候，这切吧有的，你那我是永远就是下午的，你看有的，
that's all.
永远就是了背，我是当家下的，永远就是上了背，你看有。
Ini, yeah, that's all. Yeah, so,
你老那有的是
kiba kasi ina di tamja sawa ina di du madua ina yang di tiba sagi marwa.
那在这个上马的也是，
Tiba caci mo sagi marwa, di tiba sagi marwa.
那他我当时我说，我说，
That's all.
这两个你不测清楚，
Tiba cembo di sagi marwa, ini di tiba tahi res.
不打不了，
Tiba tahi res, tamja di sawa ina, tamja sa, ini di madua ina yang tiba tahi res.
我不知道对他，就当家下的陪都有了，
That's all, that's all.
当家下的陪都有了吧，
tamja siapa cipu ina de pendo yore de ini di madua ina di ba cimbo di sai mari
打赌嘛的，我知道打赌嘛，
aso di ba cimbo tatu mari di ba thage de
你把他打过了，当家下的都陪都有了，
tamba siapa ini di maduba
而
dum
且
mituba tamja siapa nang sing dum mituba ina di ba thage de
其实是嘛，这应该打嘛的吧，
di ba thage maro aso yeah, sorry, I rephrase. So when we talk about uh, uh, promise, so promise not to do the same actions again, same negative actions again, self purified negativities. So, and however, if one made the promise and however unable to keep it, then one, according to some scholars, then they say one will not accumulate heavy negativities. So this is the rephrased version. So, however, for us, so when we make a promise, it's easier to phrase it in this way. So, at the best of my ability, I will not create these negativities again with the complete three preparation, actual session, and completion in the presence of lamas and the three jewels. So, when we uh, uh, so we're phrasing this way that I will not create the negativities with the complete three preparation, actual sessions, and completion. So don't think that it's easy to accomplish it as well. Don't think that it is not easy to have a negative actions done in with the complete three. So why? Because when like in our daily lives, when a mosquito uh, goes into your room, then buzzing sound and etc., then you feel very annoyed. Then or especially to those enemy and to those harm giver. So then there is a great danger for us to create a negative actions with the complete three: preparation, actual session, and completion. So first, to that this annoying mosquito, then we have the motivations that I want to kill it. Then you start to look for it. So that already complete the first phase, which is preparation or having that motivation. So and then actual session is you found that mosquito and then you killed it according to what you intended. So you already complete the two phases already, and then completion is you after killing it, then you feel that no, okay, now I can sleep well. You have this sense of joy in you. So that negative actions is a complete how to say has the complete three: exploration, actual session, and completion. So there is a big difference in terms of the heaviness of negativity. So in general, if we kill a mosquito without the complete, without these three, and killing a mosquito with the complete three. So there is a big difference when these three are whether complete or not.
다들 먼저 나지 하고 용이 주도사이 디바 세와데 이다 디바 사티 쳐봐 쉬어요다 이다 나도 디바지 사와다 이런지 세와다 나 두던데 세니 용이 주도사이 두던 세와니다 다들 쳐봐 쳐봐 쉬어요 디바 쳐 지금 쉬어요다 오다 디바 용이 주도사이 디바 쳐던 디바 사 쳐모.
Yeah, so even though it is the same action, however, killing a mosquito without the complete three and killing an action with the complete three, it does makes a huge difference in terms of the heaviness of negativities.
我的，我说看到也不能那都给多跌他，这没给我没给吧，是你不得嘞，对不对？没给我没给吧，是让他不往谁说啊？他没给我对，没给吧的我问题呢，没给吧这个意思，是吧？没给吧说的没给吧这个意思呢，再讲的说的我个别几给吧的，没给吧的，问题呢没给吧，最麻烦。理解过的少嘛结巴的，问题的少嘛结巴，是吧？少嘛结巴这意思。理解过的呗，你想了，那是没结巴的，问题的那是没结巴，是吧？我到底的，你不拉这个道理，人家不大理是吧？大理的，你想。
So this power of refrain is mutually inclusive with not generating the non-virtues that are not yet generated, which is one of the four correct abandoning, as you can see on the screen. So do not generate non-virtuous quality; they are not yet generated. So this is one of the four correct abandoning. So this correct abandoning is mutually inclusive with the power of refraining. So basically, it means that so those non-virtuous quality or those non-virtues they are not yet not yet generated, then you do not you are not going to generate it. So it means that if you have if the actions of if the negative actions of lying is not yet generated, then you do not generate it. You're not going to generate it. And similarly, the negative actions of killing, if it's not generated, then you continue in this way. You remain in this way. You're not going to create these negative actions of killing. Similarly, mentally, if you do not develop any harmful intention or ill will toward others, then you keep it in that way. So you keep the same way. It means that you are not going to generate or create that negative actions. So this is how these two, the power of refrain and the correct abandoning of not generating those non-virtuous qualities that are not yet generated, are mutually inclusive.
我到底对到基本中对吧？他看到没给没结巴的，你把你拉到个多呢，他谈到你去了过了对吧？谈到你去了过了对吧？你不多许多，他不你把你的多少对吧？他看到问结巴钱，没给啥结巴你不多许多，他们结巴钱呢，没给我啥子结巴钱，但结巴钱呢，但是这个这个意思，人家说，人家是，俺晓得吧？他当时是第一件事。那个的，你把新经验，你把没有啊？理解公平的单位意思呢？定级多的地方，理解公平的单位意义上定级多的，讲到的升级讲是吧？是吧？讲的升级讲。
理解公平多。
理解啊，公平，定级多是话的那种，讲到的话，定级多的讲到升级讲的话，讲到的升级讲的定级多的话，定级多松张，定级多的，人白给都是两个，那都当不没给。也是的，地方差起码是把别人就把打过去，就把打过去，新建业造这个你是大家小把东西，那么的工作数据新建劳动少是的调度升级计划，那么的工作是你新建劳动是呢调度升级计划的话，调度升级计划的那是定期多的话，定期多，是吧？我当不得，多你东西多的嘛，人把多少多啊？两年起来了，都是特别不多啊，两年起来，明白的。
So the four opponent powers. Sorry. So the power of refrain, and this is how the power of refrain is mutually inclusive with the correct abandoning of not generating those non-virtuous quality that are not yet generated. So you can see how it leads from one to another, right? So first, with regard to those accumulated negativities, you generate regret. We regret about it. and then you promise not to create the same actions again, and then you say that Lama, Lama and three jewels, please bless me, please bless me. So then this relates to the third power, which is the power of reliance. So the power of reliance basically talks about refuge and generating bodhicitta. So this is how it relates to Lama, three jewels, please bless me to be able to do so. It relates to the power of reliance, which is refuge, taking refuge, and generating bodhicitta. Then this correlates with the increasing those virtuous quality, increasing those virtuous quality that are already generated. One of the correct abandoning.
学生，那当家下才知道，今天你我操，这个你怎么去吧？对不对？然后人家的下头吧，那么一个工作是就星期六的时候是赶着去，那上场就写过来的哇，我打上就写过的，你我那对我，好的，有个多别把标的，那给我几个标，那给我第什么是标打上的，给我第什么？对对，我上去写过个呢，没得上去写过的，恐怕你管的，赶着去就给我呢。Yo ya cumplir tu mejor acá. Yo a llegar a cumplir tu mejor. Yo lleva peor. Hoy dile. Lleva peor. Lleva peor todo. Hoy dile.
Yeah. So first we regret the negativities accumulated, and then we promise not to create the negativities again, and then we request or we pray to Lama and three jewels, please bless me to be able to keep my promise. So this relates to the power of reliance, in which mainly it talks about taking refuge and generating bodhicitta. So taking refuge and taking refuge and generating bodhicitta cause those already generated virtuous quality to increase further. So such as if one cultivates bodhicitta, which is one of the power of reliance, then if one generates bodhicitta, then it also increases the virtuous quality. And if one meditates on emptiness, it also increases one's already generated virtuous quality.
到底送报的多少的话，那送报完之后，并且多大，你并且多大，可能你家就是呢，公安到公安系统了，几把标的话，我
give it
几把标的话，我给你几把标的话，那给起几把标的，并且多你大成的几把不是多，我给你。
Yeah. So the power of reliance is mutually inclusive in terms of meaning with the correct abandoning of increasing those that are already generated.
他都习惯的，他都习惯的，我说你比多少对吧？你比多大了，他路的，看到我说就是玻璃上当的，俺不地把才是就把找不就是你星期地把早那个星期当家下，人家下把拿新的，那么一个工作事情星期老多少，这是我他大部分当做星期家，那当做星期家的，星期老板是我大把拿新当做星期家，当做星期呢，那星期呢，你这个。디파 가르치는 처망이 수행해서 디파 다야게 한다 공부하니 보나 장비세 보나 이게서 빠지도 그냥에 안티 한다 따지니 따지서 때문에 양내가 주고 양내 주고 네모 인소와 네비도와 네모도 아마 아참마 네모도 계속 고스 계답에 디파 다야다 소 생생한 디파 다야서 또 고스 근데 이게 몇세 슈체고 제발이나 안다 전다 님이 돌아도 님이 돌아 좋아 님이 돌아도 니가 싸우니 봐 봐야지 하지 마 신진이 니가 싸우니 봐 내가 써야 싸워 다야 돼 님이 또 가만히 나 년에지 또 시기 년에 막 얼마로 다 도시지는 그 상황 다 되고 있어 좋아.
So these four opponent powers, one regret the negativities, the negativities done or accumulated. Then one promise not to create the negativities again, and then we also pray to Lamas, Yidam, and the three jewels. Please bless me to be able to keep this promise. Then this relates to the power of reliance. So in relation to Lama, Yidam, and three jewels, then we take refuge and generate bodhicitta. And then, then after that, there is the power of that left, only one power left, of one opponent power left, which is the power of antidote. So the power of remedy, or the power of remedy. So the power of remedy basically is in order to purify these negativities, totally purify these negativities, then my three doors engage in any virtuous actions. So any virtuous actions that my three doors engage in for the sake of totally purifying negativities is the power, it relates to the power of remedy. So such as cultivating bodhicitta, uh, uh, practice six perfections, and meditate on the meaning of emptiness. So whatever roots of virtue that my three doors engage in for the sake of purifying those negativities totally, then it becomes a power of remedy.
다 아마 연변 내부분도 집에 또 우리가 가마를 그렇게 와서는 내가 보아시는 뭐비 이게 맞게 받게 봐 따다는 거다. 다 기치 맞게 받게 봐. 다 기치 맞게 받게 봐서나 나서 나 많이 떠왔는데 마시 봐. 많이나 많이 되네. 예? 많이 되게 되지 봐. 나 맞지 봐. 와. 아 이주고는 저주세 고 많이 봐. 고 마시 봐. 동반이 돼. 고 마시 봐. 고 많이 봐이나 별로 비지 민지는 상주 세고 한번 되거나 나 맞지 봐 지게 봐. 와. 나 맞지 봐. 나 디바 다 맞지 봐. 다 들어지 봐. 와. 나 디바 다 맞지 봐. 다 들어지 봐. 와. 오, 다 들리게 나 개와 찜 맞지 이 친구도 비라 찜이 디바 아는 다 돼야. 와. 어 기치 맞지 봐. 찜 기를 또 와. 어디 양다 보 와. 기치 맞지 봐. 나 찜이 양다 보 와. 어다 대다 아니 뭐 근데 또 빠져 된다 집어도 되지.
The power of remedy is mutually inclusive with the correct abandoning of generating those virtuous qualities that are not yet generated. So how they are mutually inclusive or correlate is because, so previously, if I do not know how to recite money mantra, then I recite a money mantra. I learn money mantra, then I recite money mantra. So I accumulate or I generate the virtuous quality that are not yet generated or that was not generated. So similarly, previously, if I do not know how to meditate on the meaning of emptiness, then I learn about it and then I meditate, then I generate the virtuous quality that was not generated before. So similar to cultivating bodhicitta for the purpose of purifying those negativities that was not able to be purified, to purify those uh, uh, past negativities that were not purified. So it's for this. That's why we say that this power of antidote is correlates with the correct abandoning of generating those virtuous qualities that are not yet generated. So to purify is so that we can purify those past negativities that were not purified.
네. 나 기치 맞지 받지 받아. 내 목표를 되게 소리 간단히 기라자. 와. 아니 나도 또 시고 되게 나서 얘를 니바라 보시. 이마 비비 쇼리 와. 또 시고 되게. 나도 나중에 어디 용다 아빠에게 장서 때 나도 내가 또 시고는 시다. 스스로 나도 지구여로 와. 나도 지구여로 이 지어서가 나도 니바 가면은 내가 또 이래라. 너무만이 정말 같이 시설. 하여튼 게임 박수도 같이 하고 해. 그러면서 요즘 싸워서 하고 해야지. 와. 싸워서 하고 해야지. 그래서 네모 또 시대 따버리지 마서 디바 차체도 관리지 당한테 디바지 미치 디바 차체도 관리지 싸바이나 아저 네모 또 히도는 샤도지나 다 두고래 시티리지가 상제 두고래 쳔들라 상제 두고래 상제 두야 돼. 네모 또 히도는 디바 다 돼야 되와. 디바 다 맞는 상제가 돼요. 오, 디바 차체도 관리지 싸바이나 네모 또 히도는 샤도 개바이나 다 두고래 쳔들라 다 두고래 있어요다. 어디
So after introducing the four opponent powers and how it correlates with the four correct abandonings, then next I would like to talk about the functions or the ability of these four opponent powers. What can these four opponent powers do? So regarding the functions of these four opponent powers, I have already mentioned it several times in the past, and I'm sure that those senior students know about it. However, in order to let those newcomers or new students to understand this as well, so I would like to talk about the functions of these four opponent powers again. And no matter how heavy negative actions is created, if can be purified by applying four opponent powers. And by applying the four opponent and those negativities accumulated are purified by applying the four opponent powers, and through this then one can achieve the state of enlightenment in one lifetime with one body, in one body or with one body. So if one is unable to purify negativities, then there's no way that one can achieve the state of enlightenment. So only and when one purifies our negativities, purified. So when we purify our negativities, then only then achieving the state of enlightenment, in one lifetime, in one body is possible.
다들이스나 가서 님보 도시는 토마 가서 넘버 신지게 또 니 지레다 니바서 와 지레다 니바 간제스나 가서 리비시나 지다 로와 준진진 데버 로와 준진진 데버 로와 준진진 데버 다빈 데버 로와 시바 준진진 데버 로와 남진 데버 대시 로와 남진 데버 시로와 아 대시라 마자리 대시 예 그래서 nimbo toshito ni batata ki dizele wa shileda.
Yeah, and this the functions of four opponent powers is the functions of four opponent powers relates to the four results of an action. So the actions, there are four types of results, and these four types of results are causally concordant behavioral results. 제바 규퉁기 대보당 다베 남이 대보당 용화기 대보야. Now, so the four types of results are causally concordant behavioral results, and the second one is causally concordant experiential results, and the third one is the ripening result, and the fourth one is the environmental results. So these are the four types of results and actions can bring, and this in relation to these four types of results, then I would like to talk about these functions of four opponent powers.
넘버 신지게 또 넘버 신지게 또 담은 저거 잡 우찌네 수속에 저거 잡고 지원이 딱일라 실레의 니바로 그러와 아 실레의 가르스나 디비긴 패도 칠 그래서 저거 칠 디비 패도 니바야 패도 또 초치를 해서 저거 잡고 지네 디바 줘요 뭐 디바 산나 가 보는 디바 패도 와 얘네 패도 와 디바 산에 가와 뭐이나 또 얘네 디바니 소야 패도 와 가르스나 디바사다든 가와 보는 디바 탑치로 와 디바사든 저거 잡고 지네 디비야 패도 칠 그래서 야요 그래서 야 지레게 니바 가르스나 디비시나로 영화 진디진 데부터 다 도고 있어 영화 진디진 데부 영화 진디진 데부는 맞게만 나 시와
Yeah, so the functions and the ability aspects of the four opponent powers. So the first one is the power of regret. The functions of power of regret is uh, uh, by generating regret, then it stops negativities from increasing. Stops negativities from increasing by generating regret. And this is the function of the power of remedy. And if we create a negativity and if we were to rejoice in it, or we feel joyful about those negativities done, or we rejoice in the negativities done, then it will only cause the negativities to increase. It becomes it becomes heavier. That negativities becomes heavier by you rejoicing in that negativities done. So when we generate regret, in relation to negativities, then it will stop. Its function is to stop the negativities from increasing. And the ability of that power of regret. So the ability of power of regret is in relation to the four results. One of the four results, which is causally concordant experiential result. And this result, causally concordant experiential result, can be purified.
방금도 영화 디비게 제부터 간지 다 그래서 영화 디비게 제부터 가서 간지 중에 소스는 나 지야네 밀릭 제와나 바이나 세 통하다 내 마와다 뭐 영어로 와 마디바 그래서 한번 영화 디비게 그래서
야, 자네 마디바.
예 간다 디지 마요와 디지 마요와 리라 나사 뭐 영화다 세 통도 영화 맞아 밀릭 제와도 밀릭 바이나 디비 뭐도 와 그래서 한번 영화 디비게 영화 디비게 난 영화 디비게 되었습니다. 단단 가서 제가 좌바지네 그냥 뭔가 신집에 또 데려야 꼭 생각 딱 봐이나 신지 안다 영화 진리진 데부 다 이거 되었어 그래서 책 통도 많이 봐내 마와서 봐라 드리왕도 많도와 책 통화라서 드리왕도 많도와 뭐 드리게 이거 산주 다 그래 했어 좋아 그래서 디바 사사로와 지 보고다 내 마와 이거 먹어 사다가 제가 뭐 어디 이거 다 그래 했어 영화 진리 되고 근데 네가 했어도 네가 또 다번에 뭔가 시키고
So how do we identify this causally concordant experiential result? So for example, if one were to take rebirth as a human, or if one is reborn as a human, so even though one is reborn as a human, however, that life, one has a short lifespan, one has many sicknesses, illnesses, and one's life is not happy, is not a happy life. So even though it's born in the human realm, however, it has this one has a short lifespan, many illnesses, and unhappy life. So these short lifespan, many sickness, and unhappy life. These are the examples of causally concordant experiential result. So by cultivating the power of regret, one regret the negativities done or accumulated in the past, then it purifies those causally concordant experiential result onwards. Those ongoing, not ongoing, those future causally concordant experiential result. Yeah. So it purifies the causally concordant experiential result in these lives and also in future lives, because we have accumulated many negativities in the past. So it purifies those causally concordant experiential result of those negativities.
일단 와서 한번 신주면 또 방법들이 세 도도 이바다 네 마을에서 봐 니기베 비바가 니바데 이래서 비비 시리즈 비비 펜도체 니비 펜도체 이래서 방법들이 좀 봐이나 또 니바 니발에 라도 또 제대로 와 니발 라도 또서 얘하고 이상 다 봐이나 얘하고 다 단자샤 다 이슈자로 가면서 단자샤 들어와 니발 라도 또 되게 단자하고 샤리 나르시다 또 봐이나 다 신지 디바 초치가 신지 디바 자와네 마사이 시래
懂的
신지 디바 초치 신지 디바 초치 봐 신지 디바 뭐냐 초치 시래에 당 니바 가르스나 시바 진지 다 니바 그래서 시바 진지 다 좋아 나 디젤 뭐시 시바 진지 들어와 인디비셔널 게 당고 놀아
And the second one is the power of refrain. So power of refrain means that one promise not to create that not to create the negativities again. So if one is able to implement or to practice according to what one's promised, then by cultivating this power of refrain, the functions of it is to stop one's from accumulating negativities in the future. 신제 디바 토제바. 디바 마사야다 워로. Yeah. So it stops one from accumulating negativities in the future. So because one promised not to create the negativities again, right? So it stops the functions of power of refrain is to stop one from creating negativities in the future. So, and the ability of this power of refrain is to purify the causally concordant behavioral result. So one of the four types of results. So the second power, the power of refrain, is able to purify the causally concordant behavioral result.
다 shepa jindi jindi busna ti ducha shoujo da. 다 shepa jindi jindi butir so ma jiba na. shepa jindi jindi butir da manchi ni dipasa ju ma jiba le da. shepa jindi jindi butir pa ma do ina. ye ta ma to na pe ducha shoujo da de.
Opportunity pasaro.
Minti ni dipasa jo da ni ma lo bro.
And this result, the causally concordant behavioral result, if it is not abandoned or if it is not purified, then it is a very bad type of result. So because if this particular result is not purified, then one will create negativities again and again in the future.
Yes.
Also, how go you?
그런데 shepa jindi jindi buswa de ma do li ji to. 양조 문디네 소체발라 가와 신지세발라 가와 밀 네버 치발라 가와 오 shepaji 데브스 니 좋다 문티네 코르 디파사로에 에 기레가 좋다디
제부된 용의가
오 데브디 shepaji 니 데브데 shepaji 니 데브데 레오데 당가서 shepaji 니 네모 때도 와 제고로와 빌레오디 빌레오디 야 네모 때마 도바이나 기네 먼저 꼭 춘주 가시마 지단 건바지는 로트서가는 무시야라 가보 니 오도와 무시야라 가보 밀라라자 지 주야자 네버치야라 이스 가보 이오도와 어 지는 먼저 셰버진 좀 레버 정보 여기 담았어 좋아 셰버진 좀 레버 어디요 어디였습니다 다들 님부시 맞아 아하 고네 취 제시 걔네 취 제네 속에 아 고비 도네 아 셰버진 좀 레버 나라 때 수술라 상들이 나서필라 수수 막아서지라 내가 지구도 예 지구도 무사세라 아 이 마음은 게 어다 셰바 진진 되거든 그래서 다들이 앞에 있잖아요 nem보지 마티 마이나 아직 뭐 문티는 뭐 지발 소리 코렌 소다 리 무슨 말이 뭐래 뭐 셰바 진진 되면서 들려 나 문티는 맞아 이바사 지고 다니 얘는 nem보 때문에 또 마이나 아마도 또 님바들이 다 동의해서 얘 뭐요 얘 뭐요 nem보 때문에 해서
So by cultivating the power of refraining, then one is able to purify the causally concordant behavioral result. And this causally concordant behavioral result means that basically when this result arises or when this result is present, then one will continuously accumulate negativities and one will accumulate negativities again and again. So when this result appears, or when this result arises or appears, then one has to apply antidotes to this. If one fails to apply antidotes or unable to apply antidotes to this, then one will, because of this result, then one will accumulate negativities again and again or continuously. So, for example, in relation to a person that you don't like, then you wish to harm that person or something bad happened to you wish something bad happened to that person. Then you think about it, how's it? You have these harmful intentions or ill will again and again. And similarly, if one uh, uh, one would tend to have liking for killing sentient beings, especially not especially, and some kids, for example, even though they are just kids, and then they kind of like their nature or they naturally or they tend to kill bugs, for example, kill living beings such as bugs and etc. So this is a sign that they have the result, the causally concordant behavioral result. So same as killing sentient beings, harm other sentient beings, tend to lies or have a tends to lie and etc. So these are these are the causally concordant behavioral result, the sign of one having the causally concordant behavioral result.
어디에 가서 시골 진지 집에서는 민국고 땅에다 가와 미래 내가 키워라 가와 신기라 소치발라 가와 샤워 마루바 지와라 가와 어디다 수시바 진지 집고 나도 수페 나한테 가서 또 네발라도 또 오스와 디긴 누가 디가 간다로와 니바다 다시 니가 뭐 시사인가
You so tend to like tend to feel sentient beings tend to have harmful intentions or have liking for those improper actions, those negative actions, then these are the signs of having the causally concordant behavioral results. And by cultivating the power of refrain, it is able to provide this particular result.
다 대지에서 가서 또 손바 들어와 아니 뭐 근데 땡지 또 들어와 손바 땡지 또 다 땡지 또대 간이 그래서 가서 땡지 또 되게 간다 들어와 디바사니 마 냠메 바셔봐 시레티 마 디바드만 고니 냠메 바셔 시레티다 다 제비시 신호로 가서 답인 제비 타야지 답인 제비와 답인 제비 타야지 이바디 여레스 시레데 디바데바 냠메 바셔봐 고니 바셔봐 마 비추르 마서야 어다 드리기 이바 여레스
And the third power is power of reliance, and the functions of power of reliance is to suppress the negativities or to decrease or cause those negativities to decline or to decrease. And basically, it makes those negativities smaller. And this is the functions of power of reliance. And the ability of power of reliance is to purify the environmental result. The ability of power of reliance is to purify the environmental result.
다 답인데 무슨 관리 영어를 가서 마다빈니 지딩하서 마다빈니 니지 지딩다고 이제 시골에 나도 소리 지어대 가서 곧 되고 나바이나 답인데 무슨 와데 딱 가서 신지 등로이나 니나 관리나 신지 등로이나 가서 수속에 살아시라 사람들을 지어 자자 신지 등로이나 자사 주부야 보고라 등로야 보고 자사야 보고 일지방 무슨 미나 민도부지나 하자게 좋아 치야라 가보이마 서제 주보 또다 체마 몸에서 들리는 지와 누가 들리는 지와 로아 사야 그냥 꾸모임 산도도 꾸모임 그때 들리는 지우디 답이 되면서 이 차고야 답이 되고 와 답이 되면서 내가 체마 몸에서다 다른 마음부터 한다 좋아 꾸모이사 일제원이 아마서 띵게 또대 공원이 띵게 또 되게 니바데 간다 얘니 답인 제비데 단루하게 니가 열었어.
So by cultivating the power of reliance, it purifies the environmental result. So the environmental result basically refers to the impure places. So impure places, for example, the impure places where sentient beings lives in, or such as animal beings lives in, and human beings lives in or lives at. So, for example, for livestock, or cow, goat, and etc., then they have no food to eat. For example, they are born in a place where grass is rare. So the grasses are rare. So not much grasses, or not much meadow, or not much food for them to eat. And where when food is scarce and the water is scarce, rare, and for human beings, even though one is born as a human being, however, one is born in a place where one could hardly make a living. For example, one is born in a city or in a village where there are many rocks and rocky mountains, where one could hardly find a field or a place to plant crops and etc. So then one has the difficulty of gaining food and sustenance and etc.
근데 따당가서 들리 니가 따다야 띵지 또대 라마이다 군주라 별 소왔다네 쩔로서 제우로 와 라마이다 군주서 쩔로서 제우니 아 근데 예사기 니 마다바스를 제목에 답이 신뢰야 제거 답이 신뢰 답이 상지라 자선 도디 상지 신뢰야 제거 나 니버디 요로 안다와 답이 시 나 마다비네 답이 되면서 마다비니 네스나 마 무슨 제우디 nomji liberty nyodi a tele tingi to tingi a anda chando sinje lama ido kunjola peso atane chando da sinje so odi e sanji shi a shin so ya je lo ni ba da le da sanji shi sanji la chando che ro sanji la chando che ji che odi e chando sin che odi a bi shi la ya je lo ni ba di yes ro da bi je da ba ta
Yeah. So, regarding the power of reliance, one basically take refuge and take refuge in lamas in the three jewels and also generate a bodhicitta. So when one takes refuge, one makes prayer to lamas three jewels such as Buddha jewel. Then and by doing so it purifies the environmental results. So if one were to if one supposed to experience the environmental result of being born in pure lands such as those lands or places that I mentioned just now, so instead of being born in those places and uh, one as it yeah one is born in the Buddha's pure land, for example. So because by cultivating the power of reliance and through in relation to three jewels, one make prayers and etc. It has the ability, it is able to purify those environmental results, such as being born in an impure place. So instead of and when this environmental result is purified, then one is born in the Buddha's pure land, through making requests or making prayers making prayers to lamas and the three jewels.
나가 나게 년보 도지 참아된 거 년보 도지와 도지나 빌와 참아도 년보 도지와 니니 도지와 아 니비 또 되게 니가 가르쳐 나 되게 싫어 생각한다 이게 간다 이거 싸워야 더 되게 제일 니가 쓰는 뒤로와 이거 싸워야 다 받아 제비 신나라 너무 진짜 다 와시 너무 진짜 다 니가 이랬어 아마서 년보 도시 년보 도 다시 쉬자는 봐 년보 도 되고 먼저 딱 고스 이제 뺏겨자 나 치고 안 리스만 처음 간다 년보 도시는 좋아 님이 또 너무 여러와 님이 또 너무 어데 난 가마도 가서 너무 저기 무슨 님이 또 내가 님이 또 되게 뭔가지 이빠 싸워야 아 싫어지는 거 디어스 와난 리비 근데 신나 몸이 이제 다 돼.
And the last one is the power of remedy. So power of remedy basically is any roots of virtue accumulated through our doors. So by cultivating the power of remedy, its function is to totally purify negativities, and its ability is to purify ripening result.
어디 다 간다 가서 게 님보 도시 지금 양재 지키고야 다들 나 용어를 가서 배 양이 제가 좋지 문제는 따봐 이렇게 뭐 되고 와 님보 도시도 와 대지 양재 지키셔야 될 수 있어 이런 것도 양다 보아 이런 거 차디요 거 차려서 되면 쓰고 다들 제가만 가서다 다들만 쳐 지금 뭐 사실 지 숨바 뭐 같은 거 만들어 와 숨바 그 받으나
Yeah. Yeah. So the reason why I mentioned these four open powers here again, I mentioned these four open powers again, and in this context is because it is related to the four correct abandonings. And also since we always cultivate these four open powers, that's why I talk about these four open powers again. So then to complete these four correct abandoning, I'll continue. Then from the third one, purpose.
그것도 가려서 가서 양다 보아 그것도 와 그것도 가려서 나 문디쇼 말이바 냠바시바 당아서 나지 공 따바 지우와 이 따바시야 다들 빼졌는데 이걸 그거는 그 하고 와 맞아 고스인지 기샤와 가르치네 고스인지 기 야와 그발라 문디쇼 말이바 안다빠야 들어와 어디 이 나지 공 지우와 양다 보아라 간다 문디쇼 말이바 냠바시바 공지야 그거대 문디바 문디쇼 말이바 냠바시 문디쇼 서다 이치 양다 이치 두바 되게 문디쇼 말이 받아 양바샤 시바 딜로와 문디쇼 말이 양바샤 이 난다 보아 저때 공 제우디 아 비쇼야 깨와라 이 문디쇼도마 양바샤가 오라 공제 부바티 와 니비쇼 말이 봐야 표하시 아 되게 레고도 부바티 니비쇼 말이 봐 표하시 나 대바니 자기 정말 좋아 대바니 자기 뭐 당벌 주로 살아 당벌로 살아 나 대바니 자기 정말 좋아 대바니 자기 정말 좋아 가르쳐 정말 가르쳐 아 간다 리 대바니 자 소화 대바니 세 대바니 주 대바니 시와 리 대바니 자라 간다 리 무상을 장지 또 신경을 대파 정말 대파 뭐야 리 무두발 두바 데려와 간다 데려와 근데 두바와 두발 두바 지바 또 신경을 봐 대파 도와야 세무 다발라 다반지 땅이 뭐 신경을 봐 쓰고 도야 와 저도야 아 간다 이 좋아 좋아 대화를 두고 좋아 좋아 두고 대화지 또 신경을 대파 도야 좋아 두고 대화지 또 신경을 도야 다 로아 때다 매발라 다도 완지 또 신경을 봐 대파 도야 다 대만제 정말 정말 데려와 매주에 데려 줘 나 전주지 간바도 월 마시야래 해야 내대야 해야 봐 이제 전주지 간바도 내대야 지야 와 추다고 지야 이거 봐 이래서 와
주주기 강바.
전주지 간바도 나 수발 시와 몰라 전주지 간바 대화가 시고로 와 내가 뭐 뭐라 내가 시고로 와 근데 내가 뭐 이제 전주지 간바도 나 추다고 야 제트야 이것도 지야
가리슈 시험기.
전주지 간바 얘도 대야 로봇에 전주지 간바
That's it. So the purpose, there is a purpose of the correct abandonings because there is the purpose of causing all the discordant classes without exception to decline. So regarding this, and we have mentioned, and we always talk about this as well, whatever roots of virtue that we create through our treatise, it is for the sake of increasing the virtuous quality or virtues, and also to abandon those discordant class. So this covered the first two, so causing all the discordant classes without exception to decline, and also causing all the antidotal classes without exception to increase. And then it purifies, the third purpose is purifying the stains of the close placements of mindfulness. So the close placements of mindfulness we have already covered previously. So the close placements of mindfulness of bodies, feelings, minds, and phenomena. So the stains of these close placements of mindfulness, such as apprehending the impure body as pure and apprehending unattractive body as attractive, and apprehending suffering feeling as pleasant or unpleasant feeling as pleasant, and apprehending self phenomena that is selfless as having a self. So it is to purify the stains of the close placements of mindfulness, is the third purpose. And the last one is quickly inducing the lakes of magical emanation. So quickly inducing the lakes of magical emanation. This is the next outline, or the next topic that we are going to cover, the 4 lakes of magical emanation. And the next one is entity. The definitions of a correct abandoning is an exalted knower of one who has entered the path. There is a joyous effort of enthusiasm for discarding the objects of abandonment and adopting the antidotes. So basically, in the compendium of knowledge, what is its entity is joyous effort. So what is the purpose of cultivating the joyous effort? It is to, then it relates to this 4. So the purpose of cultivating or undertaking joyous effort is to generate the virtuous quality that are not yet generated, increase those that are already generated, not generating non-virtuous quality that are not yet generated and abandon those that are already generated. So this is the purpose of cultivating joyous effort.
我的就是说，他可能有的他看到，哪怕有的人，那么有的地方嘛，有啊，看到我们起码这个没这个这个光，你起码这个不一样的光得洗不对吧？他有的洗是吧？那么有的。
So divisions, the correct abandonings have 4 divisions, and these 4 divisions basically is these four. These 4 are the 4 divisions of correct abandonings.
那这个上头的话，那上头的话是从二三第三个的，有时候看到光的话，我的是这个。
And its the boundaries of the correct abandonings range from the path of accumulation through the Buddha ground.
那并不这些说的，那当下也从把光呢，把光是的，就这样的光的，你是什么？那家的人呢，进来的话的嘛，等到说起来，是吧？日本光的，是吧？基本上光一切都，我这样的光是，说起来都是家把的事，等我说一切了吧，那家的一切，这个不一样的光，一切，基本上的光是对，是你下来。那家的嘛，都学起来给你都下了，还是过的话，现在家的，我说这一切嘛，基本上基本上到了光，这一切呢，基本上一样到了光，对吧？现在家是的。
The etymology, since it correctly abandons the objects of abandonment, it is called correct abandoning. So this etymology is posited from one perspective of the correct abandonings. Because when we talk about these correct abandonings, it says correctly abandons the objects of abandonment. So we only relate to a partial of correct abandonings, which is in relation to the non-virtuous quality. So which is not generating those non-virtuous quality that are not yet generated, and abandon those non-virtuous quality that are already generated. So this etymology is persisted in relation to a partial, to a part of the correct abandoning. And even though correct abandonings also included generating those virtuous quality that are not yet generated and increasing those virtuous quality that are already generated. And however, it is persisted in relation to a partial part of the correct abandoning.
我基本上是看到经济养到不完的，地面养到不完的，切到爸爸的也是，按照切到爸爸的，一个养到不完的，看到我身体强的，听我的强的一些的，你听我老师吧，听我老师吧，你多是坚强的，
多身体，
多身体强的，看切到爸爸差点了吧？地面的呢，多身体，你谁的你听我老师吧，全部听我老师吧，多身体的有用嘛的？你什么说？要说在看到，养到不完的来看到。我实际上的，但你不求，那切的可能都是全部都是。
And next is proving that the Mahayana correct abandonings are supreme. The Mahayana correct abandonings are superior to the Hinayana correct abandonings because, so the Mahayana correct abandonings are superior to the Hinayana correct abandonings because of its companion. So because of its companion refers to cultivations of love, compassion, and bodhicitta. And since this Mahayana correct abandonings these Mahayana correct abandonings are accompanied by these cultivations of good quality, cultivations of love, loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta. Therefore, the Mahayana correct abandonings are superior to the Hinayana correct abandonings.
我这里在小里，他接了我自己去干巴了嘛，天意是，哇，我就得下，这是我就得下雨哇，他接了我自己去干巴了嘛，天意是，这就是主要的地方当就是。
So I will stop here. Not much time left. So if you have any questions, kindly save your questions to the next class.
我说第一次我跟了这地方工作真是真是今天当么啥子关系？这个累积不是一个这把历史工的结果的，这就那么什么那么有事情有的对吧？的，那等到忙的一样的这个一个我忙不是很多些对吧？是吧？生意了是吧？没那个钱那个这里忙不有，上网吧没有啊？正常的那个是这样啊，对吧？
We conclude with dedication. We dedicate these roots of virtue to the flourishing of Buddha Dharma and to the excellent happiness of all sentient beings in general. In particular, we dedicate these roots of virtue to all upholders of Buddha's teaching, mainly His Holiness the Dalai Lama, to live eons long, to have excellent health, and all their enlightened activities and holy wishes be accomplished instantaneously and spread in all directions. We also dedicate these roots of virtue specifically to our beloved teacher, Kapsha Lama Sowa Rinpoche. So may the unmistaken reincarnations of Rinpoche be swiftly returned and continue to turn the wheel of Dharma for the sake of teachings and sentient beings, so that we will have the opportunity to receive the profound teachings from Rinpoche again. We also dedicate these roots of virtue to the world peace. May excellent happiness prevail in the world. May wars, conflicts, disaster, natural disaster, and there are many natural disasters that is happening, such as earthquake, flood, and also harms comes from other elements as well. So may all these natural disasters be pacified. And also pandemic and diseases be pacified immediately.
Bhagi Junior
Sabeke wade tendang ruwa kuna kambe tangke waji sui lo san raba yi tembe nimbo rinpo se che sho chancho sencho rinpo je ma ke kwana ki gyu jin ke ba nyamba pe ba yang kune kundo pe wa shuwa ke pa wa chi da kim ba dang kundo sampo de a de shin de de ta ku ye je so da no je ke wa de da da je ra to ma tong yi da wa o je ma ke kwana ki gyu jin ke ba ni pa ba yang kune kundo pe wa shuwa ri me da wa rinpo je ma ke kwana ki gyu jin ke ba nyamba pe ba yang kune kundo pe wa shuwa ni je su ko ju be la chi je si si kan je de lu yun chen ha pe mo de ze ga su da su wa de so je de de lu shuwa de ka de pe de pa pe ba ka de ju me si pe shi no ka de su me de ze ga su da su wa de so tu je de lu shuwa da pe de ba ke se ye ha su po san je wa ya se ku ba de na de shi ke kya yu ba si ke de me ba lu be ke de so yong so tu be tu de pe po che shi da tu be si je pe wa la na ya mi shi si pe ko jia de tu me je je la ma so wa de pe de ma lu jong we ko je ko jia yue de na ma kyu zhuo wa yun de la ti tu zhen ma se shi o bu de shi wa shi de yin de ba we da je du ya so shi na na pe se nong ki tu ge la ko je lu be de be ya ko sa de ge sa de shi pe do yun shi so Amiro ne kue shi ka ne pe da te pa pa lu ju me ne te re se wa ten se ga zo ne ja pe si de pa do te